AMTV. Truth, love, and creativity.
It's been tough, but a great joy writing this book. It's taken me many years, over 5 years actually. So why did I write this book? First of all, I wanted something that can equip the African church for a more bold and more effective proclamation. I also wanted something for university students and Christian professionals to help them to be able to share their faith in the marketplace.
I can tell you for a fact that he has worked really hard on this book. He has spent a lot of sleepless nights, sometimes coming to bed at 3, sometimes even as it dawns in the morning. And of course he used to complain a bit and say he needed some rest, but you can see what has come through with this. As you can see, it's quite a huge book, 496 pages.
It is a very nice book. I recommend for church leaders. I recommend for any serious Christian who really wants to know more about apologetics, and especially the servants of God, pastors who are supposed to know more about the Word of God.
As a student, I recommend that you have a copy of this book because it's very interesting. As you can see from the table of contents, we have a word of testimony, what is Christian apologetics, apologetics in the Bible, indigenous African cults, a survey of non-African cults. This book is so interesting. Every student should have a copy of this book.
Pastors, parents, students, and everyone who wants to preach the gospel. First of all, the topic that I think everybody should read. You find chapter 15, blessings and curses, a biblical perspective. As you unajua, siku hizi you do things, it fails, ulirogwa na baba yako, ni kasi ya guka and all that. So you get to read this book and you get to know what's a Christian perspective, a biblical perspective of blessing and curses.
As a young man, I had a lot of questions that I was afraid to ask, and when I did, the answers generated more questions. I wanted to know what God looked like, where he lived, and since I was taught that he speaks, I wanted to know if his voice was high-pitched or deep in tone. I was told heaven was beautiful and that it had a lot of good things. The songs I was taught and those I heard in church spoke about a river, trees, and streets of gold. But then I was told that in order to go to heaven, one needed to die first. Similarly, I was told that hell was real and that the bad people would end up there. We sang that the flames in hell were unbearably hot, but that the devil lived in hell. I really wanted to know how a creature like the devil could live in a place with unbearable heat and not burn, or how he could burn and not get consumed. My questions were many and troubling, but there was nobody around me who seemed able to understand or discuss them, and as a child, I was easily ignored. For instance, I wanted to know how it felt like to have been in my mother's womb and not suffocate for 9 months. I wanted to know if anyone could read what was going on inside my head, and how come I thought the things I thought. I was told I should not steal sugar or meat from my mother's own kitchen, and I kept wondering how that could be called stealing because the items were in my mother's kitchen, my own mother who loved me, and they tasted good. As a teenager, I was told that I should not associate with girls. I wondered quietly to myself why. Especially because being with girls was one of the most wonderful feelings. I just could not explain what it was.
And on behalf of the Provost of All Saints Cathedral, we want to declare this book launched in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.